All right, as you guys can see, I've set up both my SwiftRise Pro 4-person hub tent over here and my SwiftRise Pro 3-person hub tent over here. I just put them up in my backyard because I got an alert that we have thunderstorms coming through, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to set up these tents and see how they do in stormy weather. This will test how they handle the wind, they'll test how they handle the rain, and we'll check if they get any moisture on the inside. All right, so it's been raining for a couple hours, and we'll just see how these tents have done. All right, so other than a few drips coming in at the door, which was expected because that door comes in when you open it up, let's see if we see any water in here. All right, so once you're inside the tent, I'm looking around to see if any rain got in, and I see a few places where there's a couple of drips. One is right over here next to the door, but interestingly, I don't think that's from the door being opened. I noticed that these straps that are allowed here to keep the door open, they're a little wet, and I'm wondering if they wicked water through from the outside, because both those straps are wet. In fact, they're wet enough that you can get water on your fingers. So I'll have to look at that and see, maybe these things actually just wick a little water through. But it's been raining for at least 2 hours, and I've got one drop here, so it's not like they bring a lot of water in, but it is an interesting thing. Okay, I also noticed right here along this center line, you'll see a couple of dots of water right here, and a couple of dots of water right here. Now, my best guess on these is that actually came in through these vents that they have in the rain fly. So they have these vents in the rain fly that I opened up. They can be closed, and I opened these so that there was some air circulation, and I want to see how they did in the rain. And it does appear that they will occasionally allow just a little bit of water to drip in. So keep that in mind. If you want to keep those open, you're going to get just a little bit of water that comes in off those. Otherwise, if you look around the edges, all the corners, everywhere else, it's perfectly dry in here. And this has been out here. It's been raining and storming for the better part of 2 hours. And besides 1 or 2 drips of water over there, where it seems to have wicked in off of these hoops here, these hooks here that are supposed to keep the door open, and then a few drops that came in from the vents on the top. It looks like for the most part this thing has stayed very dry. So we're actually going to keep it up overnight. It's going to rain on and off and thunderstorm on and off all night. So we're going to take another look in the morning and just see how it does. As you can see from the outside, those are the vents where I think a few drops of water have come in. It had some pretty heavy downpours. Right now it's just sprinkling, but there for a while we had some really big downpours, and I'm wondering if it manages to splash up in there. I'm going to keep these open overnight as it thunderstorms on and off all night long, and we're just going to see how much water you get in there. All right. So let's take a look and see how the 3-person tent did in the first couple hours of this rain. So the fabric here by the door, you can tell it's not as nearly as taut as the 4-person hub tent that stretches the front out. But looking in, you see it does keep the opening off the ground, and so that material, though it is collecting a little bit of water on the outside, I don't see any yet on the inside. All right, so turning on my flashlight, we're inside the 3-person hub tent. And besides a little bit of water dripping in right now, and that's because the door, I'm gonna go ahead and zip that up. So we're in the 3-person SwiftRise Pro hub tent. And it's been out here in the rain for a couple hours now. It's been on and off thunderstorms, really heavy downpours. Now you can see sometimes on these ends where I said that the hub doesn't keep the material taut. You can see them blow in and out in the wind as it picks up. But in terms of dryness, besides a few footprints from me and a little bit of water that came in when I opened the door, I went around the whole edge of this thing and I don't see any water. The corners are dry. So there was a drip or two of water right here next to this pouch. Not exactly sure where that came from. You can see right there in the edge. So somehow just a little bit of water, maybe through the fabric here. This is zipped up. I don't see any water coming through on it, so not sure exactly where that came from, but just 1 or 2 drips right there in the corner. Around here, it's all dry. It's got a few drips right here where the door opened up. But so far, everywhere else, it is really dry, and it's been raining, as I said, for at least a couple hours now. You can hear it raining now. There were some pretty big downpours there, and everything in the tent was dry except for somehow a little bit of water leaked in over here at the corner. Just, you know, just enough that you can see it, but not enough to cause a problem. I'm gonna try to figure out where that came in from. All right, so going around this in the rain, seems to be doing a pretty good job. This rain fly covers a lot of the tent material. Just the back, the front, and these sides, you see, it's got the, if you can tell from the light and the angle here, you've got the mesh on the outside, and then you've got a zip up window on the inside. And it does allow, you can see the water gets trapped right in between those. That may have been what allowed just a little bit of water to leak in on the one side, but it was a very small amount. What we're gonna do is let these stay up overnight, and it's gonna rain on and off and storm on and off overnight, so we'll see how it does. Okay, so here we are. It's the morning after. We had rain on and off during the night, plus yesterday evening. And let's just take a look at how the tents did. So the outside of the tent, it looks actually dried up already. You can tell these mats did what they did and collected a bunch of water, so not useful, but there it is. All right, so looking inside, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, so it's had a little bit of time since the last time it rained to dry, and the inside is dry. So as I mentioned earlier, when it was still raining, we did have a little bit of water drip in from the upper vents. There was a couple of drops on the floor underneath both those vents, as well as just a small amount of water that had come in off these little latches here that are used to hold the door open. I think that just sort of wicked through from the outside. So you can see it, this line comes in right here and goes through the door, and this is where the inside of this was actually wet and would drip a couple drops of water. So other than that, the sky looks good. Okay, so it's 10 o'clock in the morning after we had a night of on and off rains starting in the late evening last night. So it's had a little bit of time to dry out. The mat, as usual, just collects water. It doesn't really do a lot for you. Let's take a look inside. All right, so looking inside the tent, I don't see any water in here. So it's had just a little bit of time to dry. So if something had come in last night, it may have dried already, but all the edges are completely dry. The corners are completely dry. There's no visible water on the ground. So yesterday, when it was still raining, we saw a little bit of water come in right at this corner by this pocket. But it was a very small amount because it's completely dry now. So we didn't get the thunderstorms yesterday that we expected. We did get a lot of rain in the early evening, and I took some video of how these tents were doing in the rain. By 10 o'clock this morning, the exterior of these tents are completely dry except for the mats in front, which collect water. On the inside, I don't see any water. So the little bit of water that we picked up yesterday during the rain that came in either on the four-person through the vents at the top, and a little bit coming in through where the door hoops are set up to keep that door open. Just a small amount of water had come in those two spots, and that appears to be gone. On the three-person, there was a little water that had come in right in the back left corner where that pouch for holding your stuff was. There was just a little bit of water in that corner yesterday during about 2 hours of rain. But by this morning, it's completely dry on the inside as well. So, you know, not too bad. I'm going to wait for another opportunity. I'm sure another spring storm will pop up soon, and we will try these again and see how they handle an actual storm coming through. But for the rain, for a couple hours sitting in the rain, they did good. Thank you for watching my first rain review of the Magellan SwiftRise Pro 4-person and 3-person hub tents. If you like this video, like it, subscribe, and I'll make some more. Thanks.